Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Marriage and it's by user Stone Cold Sober 20. Need advice on how to deal with husband's attachment to pet cat. I've been married for 2 months and I'm struggling to understand what my husband actually wants from our marriage, as I feel that I'm just playing the role of an extra. You see, my husband has a 10-year-old cat who is everything to him. So much so that he has been telling me often that he hopes to die a day after the cat passes on because his entire world will crumble. Recently, he told me that his cat isn't used to me yet and that I should let her sniff me more often. Thing is, the cat avoids me as she is skittish around everyone except my husband. I told him not to be overly concerned as there was plenty of time. He said not so as the cat is already 10 years old. I couldn't understand why is there a need for the cat to get used to me, as it doesn't bother me at all that the cat avoids me. It is not my cat and I am not a cat person, but not like I hate them. I don't understand why is there a need for me to share the same feelings he has towards his cat when I have never demanded that he likes the things or people that I do. I have a dog which is now living with my parents. I did not bring him with me as my husband's cat is not a fan of dogs and because my husband cannot do without his cat. Based on that, it made sense to bring his cat with him and not my dog. I'd never expect him to love my dog as I do, since it's not like my dog has given him comfort the way it did for me. Also, it's not rational to demand that from anyone. Now, the cat has a room of her own, which is also the study room for my husband as he works from home. During furniture shopping months ago, I ordered a study desk for myself, which was placed in the study room too. I was ecstatic when my desk arrived as I never had one of my own. My family home was cramped and I had to share space with my sibling. I write music sheets in my spare time and the desk would come in handy. However, now that the cat is with us, the study room smells suffocatingly like a chicken coop. My husband claims he can't smell a single thing. Thing is, he sneezes so much when he's in the room, his nose is always blocked. I've told my husband I couldn't stand the smell and I need his help to bring my desk out of the study so that I can use it. But now that his cat has used my desk as a perch so she can watch him while he is working, he told me there is no need to move my desk out as I am not using it. Told him I needed to write my music sheets and he told me he'd get a music sheet stand for me. But that is not the point. The point is, I have paid for a desk that I can't use and I felt that he prioritizes the cat over my needs. Out of the 3 bedrooms in the house, he uses one as his gym and one as his study or cat room, and we are sharing the master bedroom. I do not know how much more I should give in, and if I were, to be honest, I am becoming resentful of him. He doesn't train his cat and said that cats are difficult to train, so he lets her on the bed, on the dining table and kitchen counter. That is, until I told him I dislike it and took action to stop her from going to places that I do not want her to. He does nothing about it. I married him with the belief that we would be happy and build a family of our own. Before marriage, he said that I would be his priority, not the cat. Yet his actions appear to suggest otherwise. When we are at home together, he spends most of his time with the cat in the study or cat's room or doing his own things in that room. I am not jealous of the cat. I understand that she is his emotional crutch, but I am disappointed that I am made to feel so alone in the marriage. I was not prepared at all for that. Any advice on how to deal with a spouse who places their pet's needs above all else? Well, B, in my opinion, this whole situation sucks. I absolutely understand the love for a pet. I've had pets, but I think your husband is taking it a little bit to the extreme. To say that he wants to die one day after his cat is a lot, considering that the life expectancy for an indoor cat is between 10 to 15 years, but yes, there are cases that go up to 20. So in the best case scenario, your husband has 10 years left. And of course, I'm taking this point to the extreme to show how ridiculous it is. So how do you talk to him about this, OP? I think you just need to communicate, because waiting for him to realize what he needs to do is not going to happen, or being passive-aggressive is not going to work out. You say that before you got married, he told you that you were going to be the priority. Where is his follow-through? So yeah, OP, I think you gotta talk to him, figure out where he stands, and then you need to make a decision. Now, the only question I would have for OP is, what kind of a marriage is this? Because I get the idea that OP and her husband didn't get to know each other very much before they got married. But that's just my curiosity, because the way she speaks about her relationship, I don't know, just gives me a weird vibe. Anyways, what do you guys think about this whole situation, or what would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Baker1310 says, okay, what? Well, you're the third wheel in his marriage to the cat, so maybe the cat will be asking for advice on how to get rid of a wife over here. Upside down smiley face. Like, was it always this bad? Did you know before you got married, or did it get worse afterwards? This sounds very absurd to me because I've never had pets, but I understand how it can be extremely frustrating. And OP responds, haha, nah, the cat is too dumb to use the phone. She can't even figure out how to use the cat flap. Before marriage, I knew that he was attached to the cat, and I thought it was only to the normal extent that most pet owners are attached to their pets. But wow, marriage truly opened my eyes and killed all the romance. Wokeman984 says, have you expressed your feelings to him on this? I've dealt with my spouse not respecting my opinion or boundaries when it came to her pets. It took many years of talking before she finally realized it was a constant point of strife and changed her attitude about it. Marriage counseling would have probably helped, but we never did it. Could be worth a shot if you aren't getting anywhere on your own. And OP responds, yes, to a certain extent before we were married. He just thinks that I was jealous of the cat and gave a spiel about how his cat saved him from harming himself because he was reminded of his responsibility towards her. He was also upset that I didn't show much interest in his cat despite how everyone who sees her loves her. He can't seem to understand that I am not her owner, and it is frustrating. It is like trying to get a toddler to be rational. Red Rose 812 says, go to counseling and deal with this before any children are brought into the picture if you plan on having any. My husband and I used to have 2 dogs. We got both together, but our second dog immediately favored him over me for whatever reason. I was at my wit's end with this dog, constantly making messes, constantly destroying things, and physically forcing herself between us when we were in bed together. But my husband treated her like a princess who was just misunderstood and scolded me every time I reacted to the bad behavior, like I was treating her unfairly. I resented being second place to a dog, and it made me resent my husband, and I don't recommend it. My husband brushed off all my complaints and concerns as being jealous of the dog until we had a daughter and the dog couldn't stand not being the center of his attention. The dog amped her jealous and destructive tendencies and ripped up several of her toys and charged at her unprovoked twice, leading to the decision to rehome her. We'd cared for her and trained that dog for years before having a baby, but her behavior never improved. I also didn't get into marriage believing I'd play second fiddle to a pet. I wish I'd sought professional help before my situation got as it did. For the sake of your marriage and for the sake of any children you may want to have, definitely address this now with a professional if you're not getting anywhere on your own. It's not normal or healthy. And OP responds, yeah, I'm having second thoughts about having children, to be honest. He said that he hopes if we do have one, it would be a girl because girls are cute like my cat. He was not interested in the very possible scenario that we might have a son instead. He has also said that he hopes his cat lives long enough to see our kids. At this rate, I don't even feel like having sex with him. Additional information from OP's comments. So, to the ones asking, it was a total of 2 years dating. At that time, I knew that he was somewhat attached to his cat, but not to this extent. He had certainly not mentioned how he owed his life to the cat. I believed it when he said I have a higher priority than his cat, but now it seems like it's only lip service and something he'd like to believe in. We did not cohabit before marriage, Asian society and all that, so I was quite taken aback that the first thing he does every morning is to make a beeline to the cat's room to coo over her for a good 15 minutes. Same thing he does before he heads to bed every night. Now, he isn't close to anyone in his family, so I suppose the cat became his main pillar of emotional support. I'm thinking of seeing a marriage counselor, but I'm not sure if it will change my husband's behavior. He had mentioned to me before that he had made a promise to his cat that he will take care of her forever. Yes, in those exact words. Also, I'm going to move my desk out this week, and if he wants to put up a fight with me because of it, I'm going to give him one he'd never forget. Gosh, the more I think of it, the angrier I get. Okay, well, the community's pretty much aligned in telling OP that she needs to see a counselor with her husband to see what's going on here. And apparently OP agrees, but she doesn't know if it's gonna work out. So it's time to move on to the update to see what happened next. But before, of course, I'm gonna show you another playlist like this one that only has updates on them. Go check it out after the video. Now let's move on with the update. A day after my previous post was made, my husband confronted me with camera footage of me opening the main door a few nights ago as my family popped by to pass me some stuff. He said that he was extremely disappointed that despite how I promised to always watch out for his cat when opening the door, I slipped up and opened it wide enough for the cat to slip out. Thing was, I have checked that the cat was safely in her room before opening the door, and whilst the door was open, I kept looking back into the house to check that the cat hasn't stepped out. The door wasn't opened widely either, just enough to accommodate me. I'm a US size 6 or 8, but he felt it was wide enough for the cat to escape. It doesn't matter that the cat was safe and sound, he was upset that I had broken my promise. I am disturbed that he actually checked the footage of me opening the door. I wonder if he has been doing that all the time. I then raised my unhappiness about his reluctance to help move my study table out of the study or cat room because I cannot stand the smell of the cat's food and toilet. I've also said that I feel like I'm receiving the short end of the stick as he has a room for his gym, a room for his office, and cat, while I don't really have a space of my own except the master bedroom, which is shared. I gave him 3 possible options to pick from where I think the desk can be moved to. In all options, the cat still has room for herself and her stuff and doesn't require her removal from the house. In any case, I paid my half of the house, the renovation, and the furniture. Of course, there are miscellaneous items that either he or I wholly paid for. My husband said that I seem to want my money's worth for everything and I'm not willing to learn to get used to the cat's smells. He said that the 3 options are putting artificial boundaries on where I can access the house and he wants me to have the enjoyment of the full property instead. He then proposed a separation where he leaves with his cat. He came up with how he thinks the assets should be split, and it appeared that he had put a lot of thought into it. I suggested twice that we see a marriage counselor to help sort out our problems, but he just ignored it. But where the cat is concerned, he said that he had always taken my requests into consideration and had restricted the cat from accessing our bedroom, kitchen counters, and dining table as I have requested. This is in spite of how he wanted to give the cat the freedom to roam and to be allowed to walk on our bed. He then asked if we tried either of the 3 options I've given, and I'm still unhappy with the presence of his cat. He wanted assurances that I will not use the option chosen and throw it back in his face. It asked how I have sacrificed and tolerated the unfairness all this while the next time I'm unhappy about something. He kept asking me, "What then?" Eventually, after some thought, I told him that okay. I acknowledge that he has made a lot of efforts to make me feel comfortable where the cat is concerned, and I will try my best to get used to the smell in the study room whilst using it. He was not satisfied with that answer and pushed. What happens then if I tried but still failed? He then added that I've always been so calculative and gave the example of how I mentioned I do not want to pay half of some state-of-the-art TV sound system just because I don't see any need for it at all. He said he never intended for me to pay for it anyway, but if that is so, why is he so upset? He said he wants to give me a comfortable life and thinks that the purchase of certain tech gadgets will make me happy. I told him no, but that doesn't seem to register. To him, I just seem to be deliberately contrary and not appreciative of his efforts. He still insists that separation is still the best solution where the cat is concerned. Wherever she goes, I go. Even though I have not once suggested that the cat should be removed. I understand that she is his pillar of emotional support. I am blindsided by his suggestion and honestly, thoroughly disappointed that he will even bring it up as the best solution. I told him to give me some time to think about how we should proceed from here. I cannot believe that a marriage I have so looked forward to is ruined all because of a cat. Extended from OP's comments. I have often wondered if I would have found out about the severity of his attachment to the cat if we had dated longer, or if it is something that can only be apparent when living together. But my husband has his good side, such as he takes up more than his share of housework proactively without grumbling and buying my favorite snacks. But then again, he reminds me how much I've eaten because he's a health freak. The other thing that is a constant pain is that his feelings are often easily hurt. I have learned to watch my tone when speaking to him because he gets easily offended if he deems it to be obnoxious or rude. I'm also anxious when I tell him about things I'm unhappy with. Funny thing is that considering all the compromises I have made, yet he felt like he was the one who has sacrificed too much for my comfort. Also, the cat and her things cannot be in his gym because he doesn't want her wandering around obstructing him when he is working out. The past few days I've been having crying jags because of this, and I was the one who came up with solutions and suggestions. I told him I will never consider a separation, but now that I have calmed down, I think I will be changing my mind. Apparently, I'm the home-wrecking mistress who is trying to convince him to leave his cat wife for me. I highly doubt he even recognizes his attachment to his cat as abnormal. He wants me to buy over his share of the house when he leaves so that I can have it. Why the hell should I buy over his share when he was the one who insisted on 95% of the design? He seems to have this baffling idea that I was using him to get a house when he was the one who kept saying that he was looking for a place before we married, and how lucky it is he didn't end up purchasing a property because serendipitously I came into his life and we ended up getting married. If he had bought a place of his own, having two properties will be costly to manage. So who's really using who? He refuses marriage counseling and has put it on me to make a decision on the marriage, and that is to suck it up and learn to get used to the smells of the cat while using my desk, or to separate. I'm very disappointed that it came to this. I married late in life, him too. I was looking forward to starting up a family with him, being a mother and growing old with him. I honestly thought I'd be happy with him. Hence, it was very devastating when he suggested separation so easily. This was despite the fact that I have told him my parents have a bad marriage and I didn't want to take the same path. I had wanted so badly to make it work, and yet all he wanted was out. I have basically come to the realization that he never needed a wife. I'm 37, he is 40, and I've finally realized that our marriage doesn't mean anything to him. So I have decided to leave. If it's a separation he wants because of a cat, I will grant his wish. So much for wedding vows and his belief in God, and to think that he's the religious one, not me. He'll probably have his cat taxidermied when she dies and pretend she's still alive. As for me, I've realized I'm just an accessory to him to be easily discarded when he finds it annoying. He has a habit of making himself look like the biggest victim of all time. I'm always the villain, the unappreciative, demanding bitch who stomps all over his sensitive feelings. He doesn't see the two of us being a team. I'm the problem that's making living together difficult. I'm not able to fight for our marriage alone. I'm done. Alright, well apparently OP went from wanting to go to marriage counseling to wanting to separate, and she's done with this marriage. So maybe in the future we'll get a short final update that says, I'm divorced. In any case, OP, I think that getting away from him is the best solution for you. Just focus on yourself and live your life. Thank you for sharing, OP, and all the best in the future. Take care. Now, how about we finish this video with a quick mood booster post? This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user Arizona Coyote. Just effing leave? Well, alrighty then. So, my ex-wife used to pull the BS move of getting out of the car and walking whenever there was an argument, knowing my stupid ass would follow her and try to convince her to get back in so we could go home. One night, she started an argument accusing me of flirting with the waitress, who was the mother of one of my high school friends. Definitely wasn't on my radar of women to flirt with, and I let her know that in no uncertain terms. As usual, she jumped out of the car and starts walking, so here I go, driving next to her, window down, trying to coax her back in the car. Now, on this particular evening, it was raining and cold, and I had really just had enough of this stupid habit of hers. So I asked her twice to get in, and I told her I'd leave if she didn't. She said, "Just effing leave, go home." So I did. I went home, cracked open a cold Pepsi, grabbed my new book, plopped my ass down in the recliner, and started reading. 30 minutes later, she flings the door open, looking like a drowned rat and extremely pissed. She starts yelling, "Where did you go? Why didn't you come back for me?" I calmly said, "Well, you told me to leave and go home. I just figured you needed some time to cool off." Funny, she never got out of the car again for some reason. Well, OP, how's that old saying go? Play stupid games, get stranded in the rain? And I absolutely agree with you, OP. That passive-aggressive BS crap of getting out of the car when you guys have an argument gets old really quickly. But anyways, OP, thank you so much for sharing. This was awesome. Take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.